This is our 7th buy-in of our 10 buy-in set, playing NL10 using the default strategy. We post and then see the flop with the limper and the blinds. Since we flopped 2 pair, we go ahead and bet 3/4 of the pot. We still have 2 pair, so we again bet 3/4 of the pot. We're not concerned about the 3 diamonds on the board because we're so short stacked. We know that players without a flush would likely come along, particularly players with 1 diamond in their hand might call for a couple of streets. Or they might fold when we double barrel the turn. Hand number 11, we get pocket 5s under the gun. Pocket 5s are not playable under the gun using the default short stack strategy, but I played them anyway. I'm not sure why, basically a misclick. The best way to be sure that you follow the default strategy exactly is to print it out and have it in front of you. The default short stack strategy can be downloaded for free at keepcalmrebuy.com. Click on the link in the description. And of course, we flop an underpair. So our play here is to check fold, paying the price for our misclick. There we go. Now we're 40 cents poorer, but hopefully 40 cents wiser. The very next hand, we're on the big blind and we get ace deuce offsuit. This hand is not playable unless it's limped to us, and then we're forced to see the flop for free. We check it through, and we flop a single overcard. So we're going to check fold. But it comes back to us with no action, so as our default, we bet half pot against any number of players after 1 full street of no action, and we take down the pot. We're dealt ace queen suited on the button on the 21st hand. Ace queen is playable even against 1 raiser. We raise to 3 times the original raise size, 9 big blinds. Big blind calls, and the original raiser calls. We flop second pair with a gut shot to the nut straight. But since we're against 2 players with only second pair, we are going to check. Still with second pair, but that second king makes it less likely that someone else has a king. Still, we follow the default strategy and fold. And 5 hands later, we're dealt ace-queen once again, this time not suited and on the big blind. We face an all-in shove from under the gun +1. If we were not following the default strategy exactly, we might just fold this, but instead we call, because that's what the strategy calls for. Only to get beaten by ace-king. Ace-king beats ace-queen. No surprise. We're going to keep calm and rebuy and play on. But first, let's record the results of that buy-in. This was our 7th buy-in. We played for 8/10 of an hour. We played 27 hands. And our winnings are -$3. So we're -30 big blinds. Our cumulative, we played for a total of 5.2 hours. We played 231 hands. We made $4.71, which is 47.1 big blinds. Our big blinds per hour are 17.7. Our dollars per hour, $1.77. Now on to our 8th buy-in. We only had to post the small blind because we were beaten on the big blind previously. And we're dealt ace-K for our 3rd hand of this buy-in. We raised our standard 40 cents. Under the gun thinks it over and folds. The hijack comes along. And we see the flop 3 ways. We flop top pair, the nut top pair with the nut kicker. So we bet 3/4 pot. We're pot committed at this point, so we go all in. And now once again prove that ace-king beats ace-queen. Let's take a look at our keep calm rebuy win rate calculator. That was our 8th hand. We played about 1/10 of an hour. And we played for 3 hours. Sorry, we played 3 hands. We won $3.08, which is 30.10 buy-ins. Our total is still holding at 5.2 hours of play. We played 234 hands. We won $7.79, which is 77.9 big blinds. Our big blinds per hour are 15. Our dollars per hour, $1.50 per hour. On to the ninth buy-in. After much waiting, we're dealt Jack-9 suited on the button. Jack-9 suited is not playable under the default short stack strategy, but to many players, particularly live players, Jack-9 suited is playable in every position, every time. We see the flop as a free play. And we flop middle pair on a monotone board. With middle pair or a monotone board, we would bet half pot against one player. But since we have two players, we go ahead and check. With the action folding to us on a second street, we bet half pot. There's very few bluffs built into the default short stack strategy, but as you may have noticed, what bluffs we make nearly always get through. At hand number 28, we're dealt ace-king once again. We face no raise, only two limpers, so we raise it to 4 times the big blind, plus 2 big blinds per limper. We go heads up, out of position, and we flop overcards. With overcards against one player, our default is to bet half pot. And we get shoved on, so we're going to say thanks but no thanks. Now we are under 20 big blinds, so we switch to our under 20 big blind strategy. We get ace-queen at hand number 35. Our default for any playable hand, when under 20 big blinds, is to get as much money into the pot as quickly as possible. With so many limpers, we decide just to go all in, see if somebody comes along. King Jack comes along. We hit, King Jack does not, and we take the pot. We're dealt King Queen at hand number 38. King Queen is playable in middle position. So we raise to 4 big blinds. At this point, as you can see by the timer, I've been playing for over 3 hours. So I've played several sessions, several buy-ins at one sitting. We get the folds and we decide it's time to go. So once again, let's take a look at our Keep Calm Rebuy win rate calculator. This is our 9th buy-in. We played for 9/10 of an hour. We played 39 hands for a grand total of 37 cents won. That's 3.7 big blinds. A total of 6 hours we played now, and we played 273 hands. Our total winnings are $8.16 for 13.5 big blinds per hour, or $1.35 per hour. Let's go to our 10th and final buy-in. We see King 5 on the big blind. Not playable, and there's a raise, so we'll be folding. Hand number 9, we're dealt Jack 3 of hearts. Not a playable hand. But we see the flop for free. We actually flopped top pair here, but I really didn't recognize it because the board is so low. Definitely not a top pair board. I could have bet 3/4 pot here, but instead I check it. Now we pick up a flush draw. We no longer have top pair. With the flush draw, I just go rogue and bet half pot. I think at this point I'd been playing too much poker for the day because I was starting to deviate too much from the default strategy. But in this case, no harm, no foul. We take down the pot. While we're on the subject of too much poker, one thing beginners often have an issue with is stamina. But I'm going to recommend that you don't stress out about stamina. If you can sit and play for at least an hour to an hour and 15 minutes, you have enough stamina to begin to learn poker. Someday you may be playing for 3, 4, 5 hours at a time online. I myself have never been able to play that much in one day successfully. But if your ambition is to move to live play, you'll find live play is a completely different animal as far as stamina. 2, 3, even 5 hours can go by before you know it when you're playing poker live. So don't be overly concerned about that. As it turns out, with yet another free play, we flop yet another top pair. This time it's a more serious top pair with the kings. We bet 3/4 of the pot against 2 players. These are certainly some very thoughtful players. Or maybe number 3 is just asleep. He lets it go, and the small blind lets it go. We're dealt a suited ace, ace 3 of hearts, for hand number 45. This also happens to be a wheel suited ace because the wheel straight is possible. Suited aces are my favorite hand. Not my favorite hand because they make the most money. Obviously that's aces for me, as it should be for any poker player. Suited aces are my favorite because there's so many interesting ways to play them. Still though, under the default strategy, they are only playable against limpers. We raise to 5 times the big blind, 4 big blinds plus 1 for the limper. And we flop a single overcard with no hearts on the board. Also, you may notice there's 3 to a straight. We check it. Now there's 3 to a straight and 3 to a flush. With a just under half pot bet, we're going to believe him and fold. We just passed the 1 hour mark, so we're going to end the session and enter our results into the Keep Calm and Rebuy win rate calculator. We played for 1.1 hours. We played 41 hands. Our winnings were negative -67 cents for a total of -6.7 big blinds. We've now played for 7.1 hours. We've played 310 hands. Our winnings are $7.49, which is 74.9 big blinds. Our big blinds per hour, $10.05. Our hourly winning rate is $1.05 an hour. Big blinds per 100, 23.6. At this point, you may be asking yourself, am I going through all this to learn how to make $1.05 an hour? Not at all. This is your start point. You see now that the default short stack strategy is a reliable way to be a break-even to slight winning player. Next, we'll learn the default strategy with adjustments. How and when to make those adjustments can be learned by reading the book Poker Beginner to Poker Winner in 1,000 Hands, available at Amazon or on my website.